Hare Krishna, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We continue reading from Caitanya Caritamrita. We are on Adi Leela, chapter 7. Text 1-2. Parinam vade Ishvara hayena vikare eta kahi vivarta avad sthapana ye kare. So, according to Shankaracharya, by accepting the theory of the transformation of the energy of the Lord, one creates an illusion by indirectly accepting that the absolute truth is transformed. So yesterday we were hearing that in the Vedanta Sutra, Srila Vyasadeva has clearly mentioned that the absolute truth is unchangeable, but his energies transform. It is by his transformation of his energy that this material world is created. Material world is his energy. We, the living entities, are his energy. This is the point we have to accept. This is the point we have to understand. If we think that God has transformed, that God doesn't have any energies, then that is our misunderstanding. We always say God is omnipotent. So we have to try to understand, what does it mean? What does it mean when we say God is omnipotent? It means that God is a person and he has many potencies. He has many energies by which he does everything that he's doing. That is something that we need to understand. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments that if one does not clearly understand the meaning of parinamvad or transformation of energy, one is sure to misunderstand the truth regarding this material cosmic manifestation and the living entities. So this is the point we have to understand, that God is omnipotent. If we think God has no energies, then we are not able to understand God as he is. We are thinking that God is like me. We are bringing God to our level, but that is our misunderstanding. The truth is God is omnipotent. He has many, many potencies, many energies, which transform. In the Chandogya Upanishad 6.8.4, it is said, Sanmula Saumyema Prajasat Ayantaha Sat Pratishtaha. The material world and the living entities are separate beings, and they're eternally true, not false. So we have to understand, we, the living entities, we are separate beings. It's not that we all, after we get liberated, we all mix into each other. No, we don't mix into each other. It's not like how we go to sleep. It's not that everyone mixes into each other when we are sleeping. No, nothing like this happens. We still continue remaining individuals. That is the meaning of spiritual. Spiritual means eternal. We are eternal. So we are eternally individuals. That is the point we have to understand. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, he gives him such detailed information regarding the soul. Shasvatam Yam Purano, that we are pramabal, we are eternally existing. So we will continue to exist eternally, even after we get liberated. Similarly, the material energy, she is also eternal. The manifestation of the material energy is temporary. Sometimes the material world is manifest, sometimes it's not manifest. That's okay. But the material energy, she is eternal. she belongs to Krishna. God is eternal, so his energies are also eternal. That is the point we need to understand. We souls, we are eternal souls. We are eternally individuals. Shankaracharya, however, unnecessarily fearing that by the Parinamvad, transformation of energy, Brahman would be transformed, Vikari has imagined both the material world and the living entities to be false and to have no individuality. So if we think that this material world is false, if we think the living entities are not individuals, that is our misconception. That is our misunderstanding. By word jugglery, he has tried to prove that the individual identities of the living entities and the material world are illusory. And he has cited the examples of mistaking a rope for a snake or an oyster shell for gold. Thus, he has most abominably cheated people in general. So if we think that the soul does not have an individuality, if we think the material world is an illusion, then we are mistaken. We are mistaken, we are being cheated. So we have to understand the truth. The example of misunderstanding a rope to be a snake is mentioned in the Mandukya Upanishad, but it is meant to explain the error of identifying the body with the soul. Since the soul is actually a spiritual particle, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivam so jiva loke, it is due to illusion, vivartavad, that a human being, like an animal, identifies the body with the self. This is a proper example of vivarta or illusion. So, thinking that the rope is a snake, sometimes we may do this mistake. We see a rope and we think it's a snake, so it's an illusion. That's what we are doing that with the body. We are thinking that we are the body. We are not able to understand that I am the soul. I'm a spirit soul. This is the real way that we can understand what does illusion mean. We are thinking I am this body. We are not able to understand I am inside this body. I am a spirit soul. So the verse Atatvato anyatha buddhir vivarta iti udharata describes such an illusion. To not know actual facts and thus to mistake one thing for another, as for example, to accept the body as oneself is called vivartavad. So what is vivartavad? Illusion. Thinking that I am the body. This is illusion. Thinking that consciousness is with the body. Thinking that individuality is with the body. That is the illusion. And that is what we need to come out of. Every conditioned living entity who considers the body to be the soul is deluded by this Vivartavad. One can be attacked by this Vivartavad philosophy when he forgets the inconceivable power of the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So we are not able to understand how great God is. We bring him to our level. We think, oh, God, oh yeah, well, whatever. We think he is like us. No, God is omnipotent. He has inconceivable powers, inconceivable. And because we forget it, we come into illusion. So the more we hear about God from Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita, the more we chant the holy names of God, the more we will be able to understand him. Krishna says, I can be understood only by devotion. Bhaktiyamam abhijanati. He says in Bhagavad Gita that the way to understand me is by devotional service. Devotional service begins by hearing and chanting. So this is what we need to do. The more we hear, the more we chant, the more we will be able to understand God in truth and our position in truth. How the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains as he is, never changing, is explained in the Isopanishad. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. God is complete. Even if a complete manifestation is taken away from him, he continues to be complete. So God, you can't take away anything from God. Spiritual mathematics. 1 plus 1 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 1. Everything plus Krishna is Krishna. Everything, if you, Krishna minus everything is still Krishna. Why? Because everything belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. This is what we need to understand. The material creation is manifested by the energy of the Lord, but he is still the same person. As we were saying, that that a businessman, by his energy, he creates a big business empire, he creates a factory, so many machines, so many people working. It doesn't mean that the man is no more. The man is still there. It is by his energy he has created this factory. If we think, oh, now the man is no more, now he has become the factory, he has become the machines, then we are being mistaken. Similarly, God has created the material world, but he still exists. He's still a person. Srila Jiva Goswami in his Paramatma Sandarbha comments regarding the Vivartavad as follows. Under the spell of Vivartavad, one imagines the separate entities, namely the cosmic manifestation and the living entities, to be one with Brahman. This is due to complete ignorance regarding the actual fact. So if we think everything is one, this material energy, this universal power, and me, the soul, I am this universal power, and I am God and me and universal power, we are all this one. That is our illusion. We are not God. We are not this material energy. No, we are the Jivatmas, the souls. That is the fact. The absolute truth of Parabrahman is always one and always the same. He is completely free from all other conceptions of existence. So the Paramatma is always the Paramatma. He never becomes a Jivatma. It's not that we were Paramatma at one time and now we have become the Jiva. And after we get some knowledge, we will again become Paramatma. No. God cannot become a simple Jivatma, No. God is always God. He's completely free from false ego, for he is the full spiritual identity. It is absolutely impossible for him to be subjected to ignorance and fall under the spell of a misconception, Vivartavad. So imagine saying that thinking that, I used to be God before, but now I have forgotten I'm God. So I'm going to pray to myself that I become God again. I'm going to pray to God so that I can become God again. It's very, very illogical. If you're God, you're never going to forget that you're God. God can never forget he's God. That's why he's God. That is what we need to understand, that we are not God. We are in ignorance because we are part and parcel of God. We are tiny, whereas God is unlimited. The absolute truth is beyond our conception. One must admit that he has unblemished qualities that he does not share with every living entity. He's never tainted in the slightest degree by the flaws of ordinary living beings. Everyone must therefore understand the absolute truth to possess inconceivable potencies. This is what we need to understand, that God is omnipotent. God is omnipotent. So we have to understand, what does this sentence mean? What does omnipotent mean? These inconceivable potencies that God has. How does he use them? What does it mean that God is omnipotent? It means he has many energies and the energies transform, but he himself remains the same. So that's how God is omnipotent. So we'll stop here for today. But are there any questions or comments? So the more we hear about God, the more clearer the knowledge becomes. The more we hear, the more we study, the more we chant the holy name, the more we will be able to understand God's position and our position. Is that okay?
I think I like the sentence you said that God can never forget that He is God. Yeah, like some people who claim कि आप भूल गए हो, you are God, तुम भूल गए हो अभी कि तुम भगवान हो, तुम भी भगवान हो. लेकिन अगर भूल गए तो फिर हम कैसे भगवान है? भगवान तो भूल ही नहीं सकते. Yeah.
Exactly. So that means जब भी अगर हम बोलते हैं कि भूल गए हो तुम भगवान हो, तो मीन्स हम बोल रहे हैं कि माया is greater than God. अगर बोलते हैं right कि now we have forgotten we are God, that means we are thinking that illusion is greater than God. That's what it means. That illusion is greater than God, but it's completely illogical. Illusion is illusion. God is God. See? So, and to understand God is very logical, very simple. So, thank you so much. We'll end here today. Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.